Recovery Daily Podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Abbasi. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor. Welcome to Hump Day. Today I'm going to be talking about anger. But before I do, I wanted to, on a related topic, I got my dry needling today. And I hate it and it makes me angry. It's terrible. It's terrible. I don't know why I continue to get people who say, "Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it amazing?" And I'm like, no, it is absolutely one of the worst medical procedures I've ever had to do. And I do think it should be called a procedure. It is absolutely terrible. So I got that done. I don't feel better afterwards. But what I told the physical therapist, the doctor who does it, I do feel better a couple days later. And that seems to last throughout the week. I am still having popping in my back. I said, is that bad in a way that I'm making it worse? Like, I feel like every time my back pops back there down at the bottom, I feel like I'm making things worse. And she said, you're not making things worse. It's just a matter of not having stability down there and strengthening the muscles. So I continue to do my exercises and I'm walking a lot more. I'm not as afraid to walk, I think. So I'm doing my rucking backpack and I'm walking more often, still keeping it under a mile, but I'm good. I mean, this is progress. Those of you who have stayed with me throughout the past couple years know that I was just only able to walk around the block. And now I'm actually walking over to the neighborhood pool and back again, which is about a half a mile there and a half a mile back. So it feels good to get outside. My favorite time of day is after dinner when it starts, like it's still yucky and sticky and hot outside because I just like that kind of weather, but there's a little bit of breeze, like the evening breeze is coming through. Oh, it's delightful. And so Autumn and I go outside for our evening walk. That is required by her. She makes it very clear that she would like to go outside and carry her ball around the neighborhood for several minutes, but about 15, 20 minutes. She likes to walk around the neighborhood, let everyone know that she has a ball. It's her ball. It's her favorite ball, and nobody else can have it. And then we come back inside, and she's finally ready to pass out. So, yes, it's kind of humorous. And then other news for today is I'm working on a quilt that my mother gave me the pieces of the quilt that my aunt had been working on before she passed away. So she passed away from ALS and she was a sewer just like my mom. I was not a sewer until I medically retired, and now apparently I am, and I love it. So that's kind of fun. So I have a quilt hanging beside me that is, I'll share it on my social media when I'm done with it, but it is a beach theme. And it's really super cute. Honestly, there is a feeling of like deep satisfaction that I'm completing something that she started. So I'm excited. And I think it makes my mom happy too. So it's win-win. So that's what's going on in my life. And I have a headache all day long. I have a headache and like a worse headache than normal. And I think it's just because I'm doing a lot. And so I know. Don't say anything. I know. I told you so. Um, Okay, so I want to talk about anger, and anger is something that I don't feel very often now, thankfully. Um, it's something that when I was drinking, I felt that. So I wasn't like an angry drinker. I wasn't like, you give me some drinks and all of a sudden I'm nasty and I'm abusive or anything like that. But when I get angry, like when I was drinking and something upset me, I was more likely to not know what to do with that anger. And what ends up happening is that I'll either explode verbally, not not terrible. I mean, those around me could probably tell me if I was super terrible. I did have an outburst here and there, but it wasn't like a normal thing for me. But the thing is that when I did get angry and I was drinking, there was nothing to do. Like I couldn't do anything. It was an emotion that was completely uncontrollable. And I can completely understand why people who drink end up, nothing bad. How's the saying go? Um, every time I get, every time I drink, okay, let's work on this together. I don't get angry every time I drink, but every time I'm angry, I'm drinking. I think I said that right. So the way it typically goes is bad things don't happen every time I drink, but when something bad happens, I'm always drinking. Well, the same thing for me went with anger. So I don't feel a lot of anger now. There's somebody in my meetings who says, instead of feeling anger, feel disappointment. Like transform that feeling into disappointment. It's not as uncomfortable. I really like that because I don't feel anger as much as I feel hurt and disappointed. I feel more like sorry for myself and crawling inside of myself than I do feel anger, like I want to explode or take something out on somebody. Um, when I was drinking and I felt anger, I, like I said, I didn't know what to do with it. So it would be easy for me to just drink over it. Like short term numbness would, it feels like survival. Like anger is the most uncomfortable thing that my body can feel for this person. So drinking was survival in all dealing with any emotion, and anger is included in that. Like drinking more when I was angry. So I was already drinking and then I got angry. So drinking more gave me that perceived relief. That feeling that the only way I'm going to survive this is to drink more. And then the long-term fallout of that, of course, is deeper hostilities and often legal messes. I remember some instances. I'm laughing. Sometimes it makes you laugh when you know that the all of that part of your life is over. Um, there, there was one time where I had, so I was known for having keggers. So I was having a kegger in my house, and there was a bunch of people who came over, and a friend of my husband at the time, not the husband I have now, a friend of my husband, the kid's dad, came over and brought a young woman with him. And the young woman proceeded to get just completely hammered, as I was too. I mean, we all were, honestly. But she started talking disrespectfully to my best friend. And this woman was like in my house and she was talking nasty to my best friend. So I decided to tell her she needed to leave. And this reaction, because it was definitely a reaction. It wasn't. I didn't think long and hard about how to handle the situation. I just exploded on this chick, and I told her she needed to leave. And that's not something I would have ever had the courage to do if I wasn't drinking. I was a doormat when I wasn't drinking. So drinking gave me power. It empowered me to be able to stand up for myself and stand up for my friend. Um, so just to close that story out, the woman ended up leaving my house. Her car, I think, was parked at the neighbor's house or something, or maybe it was in my driveway. Anyway, she backed out of my driveway, and we had these ditches beside either side of the driveway. So she backed out of the driveway, and her entire car went into the ditch, and it was stuck there. So it was almost like, of course, at the time I was thinking, serves her right, you know? What I should have been thinking is, I need to take this woman's keys, like, get some freaking empathy, you know? She could have killed herself. Um, and I only see that now. And I let my anger take precedence over making sure that this human being was not going to go risk her life and risk other people's lives. So that was irresponsible of me. And that's the kind of stuff that drinking did. That's the kind of like hostility that would happen on the spot when I was drinking. And I didn't know any better. You know, that was my excuse. I didn't know any better, but, you know, I didn't care. I didn't care because I was drinking and I was happy and I didn't want anybody to get in my way. Um, so I definitely have other stories that I recall where that best friend of mine that I was protecting at that party, her and I got in an argument when we had been drinking all day for St. Patrick's Day. That was our thing. We were drinking all day for St. Patrick's Day and got in an argument at the end of the night. And it it didn't have to be that way, you know? And then it was days before like I had to apologize and tell her that it was just uncalled for to act like that. So um, the drinking and the unspoken grudges when I was drinking, like that instance where my friend and I got in an argument, and then I have like days of replaying this mental courtroom inside my head, and it just fueled, all it did was fuel my desire to take the edge off and drink. Like whatever happened when I was drinking that was terrible, in order to mentally mend it, I would just drink more. Um, any resentments that I would build up would become a chronic resentment because it would just smolder in how they wronged me. So the only way to, I guess it was like validation. Isn't that weird? It was like validation that I was right if I started throwing down some drinks. Doesn't make any sense, but that's what my brain was thinking. And then that just that basic survival script that was going through my head all the time to protect myself. Strike first, you know, stay safe, make sure that your verbal reflexes are on point. So if anybody crosses the line that you can just attack. But alcohol just magnified what is a typical instinct in our lives to protect ourselves. It's just magnifying it in a very unhealthy way. That protection is we're not it made me feel like I was in danger when I actually was not in danger. And anything that I tried to fix when I was drinking, all I ever did was make it worse. Um, you know, being sarcastic with people when they've crossed the line. Feeling fearful or dreading, like that anxiety that was so deep rooted inside of me when I was drinking, it exacerbated the fear. And so I needed to drink more in order to subside the feelings. Like it felt like I've told you guys before, I had so much anxiety I could have powered a city because I was always trembling on the inside. Like I had a constant feeling of restlessness and fear. And that just turned into frustration and just doomsday mentality all the time. My inner narrative was a completely different person. I've talked about that recently, that the inner voice that I have that talks to me now is a completely different woman than the one that I used to listen to when I was drinking. Um, I I'm able to now when I feel like when I feel any sense of frustration, I have this hyper awareness now. I don't have tunnel vision where when something irritates me, it's like the tunnel vision is created and all I can see is this red alert, you know, right in front of me, like whatever this is danger. And you need to either attack or run. And for me, the answer was most of the time run. And that was where the drinking came in. And every now and then I would attack, like that woman who wasn't nice to my friend. So, what do I do now without the drink? Like when I get angry, because anger still feels really, really icky in me. I would rather feel nervous. I would rather feel afraid than feeling angry. I hate it. I hate feeling angry. I hate it almost as much as I hate dry needling. So some of the things that I do when I'm feeling off, because I never let myself get to that big point of anger because I feel like I'm so hyper aware of my moods now. It's not perfect, you know. I'm not trying to brag that, oh, I have my emotions totally under control. I absolutely don't. And these are the things that I do when I feel off, when I feel like crying. I know you are out there, the person who, whenever you get angry, you cry, because that's me. When I get angry, I cry. When I was drinking, I did not cry when I got angry. But today, if I get angry, I cry. And I have met so many people that are exactly like that. So if I get angry and I feel like I'm going to cry, um, I will typically go outside and go for a walk. That's usually my answer because I want to cry, and going outside and walking, like I don't care who sees me. I don't care if it's not like I'm ugly crying and like sobbing while I walk down the street. And even if I was, there's so many places that you can go and nobody's gonna see you. So I typically will go outside and go for a walk. I get to wear my rose-colored glasses all the time and my sunglasses outside. So even if I was crying, nobody would really be able to even tell. One of my therapists back before I got sober, she told me that the safest place to scream if you're angry is in your car, when you're driving in your car. As long as you keep your eyes on the road, it's the safest place to scream. And she said that because when you're driving in the car and you're screaming, nobody can hear you. Especially if you're driving. If you're sitting at a stoplight and you're screaming, they might be able to hear you, but it's up to you whether you care about that or not. But just roll up your window and scream. And I tried it. Um, and the first time I screamed, so I was driving back from that therapist's office and I was on a back road. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna try it. And I screamed and it was like like I didn't even know how to scream because I was so used to holding everything in that I couldn't even scream. So I probably tried to scream about 5 times before I got to a point where I was screaming so loud that it hurt my ears. I didn't even know, like, this is funny. So I didn't know whether to scream high or low. Like, how do people scream? Do you scream in your normal voice? Do you scream in like a singing voice? I didn't know how to scream. I'm not a screamer, I guess. But anyway, try it. I'm telling you, try it. Because if nothing else, it's really fun to go get in your car and scream. I don't have a car now. So if I need a big release like that, I will drop down and start doing push ups. And I will do push ups until I can't do it anymore. And then if I'm still angry or upset, I'll rest for a minute and then I'll start doing push ups again. So for me, anger is just energy that needs to get out of me. And so, however, I can let that energy out, the better. That's why if I'm gonna cry, I think it's really important that I do because crying, I cried a lot when I was growing up. Ask my brother. I cried a lot. And I see today that it was energy that needed to come out that I didn't know what to do with it. So today, when I need to cry, I find that it's the most therapeutic thing I can do for myself. If I have feelings that are making me want to cry, it's so important that I let those feelings out and I let myself cry, no matter how loud or how long I need to cry. The best example of me holding in a cry for a couple years, at least a year, was when my friend passed away in, gosh, I don't know, 4 years ago now. I'm not sure. Three, yeah, I feel like it was like 4 years ago. Um, Gosh, it's so amazingly crazy. I I didn't I didn't listen to music because it would make me cry. So finally I decided like this has to come out. It has to come out. So I went up to a soccer field near my house. There's like 6 soccer fields and they're all together. And I decided to just start. I used to go up there and run around the whole soccer field area. And so I went up there and I put music in and I just started running. And I was just absolutely sobbing, just absolutely sobbing. But it was the most cathartic thing I could have done for myself. And so I feel like that today is still a really good go-to for me, specifically because being angry makes me want to cry usually. So I've got my walk outside, I've got my push-ups, and one thing that other people may not recommend because it is leaning more towards an addictive behavior is I will eat a little bit of candy. Um, I have, I never sit down and eat an entire box of candy. It's just not something that I do. So if I have like a handful of Skittles, it makes me happy. It just automatically makes me happy. I mean, it's sugar, and it's a solution in early sobriety for people to handle cravings. If you're craving alcohol, have some candy in your purse or in your pocket, and have a Starburst or something like that, and it should change that craving. And that worked for me. Actually, I was on a medication when I got into detox, and for 3 months after that, that it's called naltrexone, and it is known for curbing cravings. So I took that for 3 months. It was expensive. I don't know why. I don't know if insurance didn't pay for it or there was just a big cost out of pocket for that. I'm not sure, but I decided I was going to stop taking it, and I did not talk to my doctor about it first, which is not advised. Please do not do that. What I ended up craving was not alcohol. When I stopped, I started craving candy, and I was eating candy by the pounds. It was really disgusting, honestly. But I am really grateful that that was the thing that I craved and it wasn't alcohol. Um, Journaling for anger doesn't work for me. What I need to do is talk to somebody about it, and like not necessarily face to face, but pick up the phone and talk about it. Definitely do not text. So these are some of the ways that I handle anger right now. I think that going back to the basics about what I always talk about, where we name the emotion, I think that that's really important, not pretending that we're fine, just like the acceptance stages of acceptance, not pretending that I'm fine and naming the emotion, looking at my own physical cues that signify that I might be getting angry, that I'm frustrated, some of the things that I do are I clench my jaw. I definitely start like moving my legs and stuff. I get really fidgety. So when I start feeling that coming on, the best thing that I can do is like start moving my body, like go out for a walk, do push-ups, something like that. That's the best thing that I can do for it. And at the end of the day, I need to talk about it. Like we need to talk about our feelings. That is the most important part of my sobriety is bringing somebody else into the conversation. Um, so yeah, anger is the most uncomfortable feeling in this body. But if I can read it early and reroute that energy, I can turn that trigger into something that is healthy, even. I get a little exercise. If I get angry, go outside and do some exercise. So that's what I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will talk to you tomorrow.